It's great to have you here on the Clark Howard Show. You know, our mission is to serve you with advice and information that empowers you so you make better financial decisions in your life. In today's episode, I'm going to start with a warning about hotel frequent stay programs. I talked recently about airline frequent flyer programs and how they've become such a ripoff. I want to tell you the hotels have actually become worse than the airlines. Is that possible? Yeah. Also, I have an update about something I was so excited about on the podcast. Laundry detergent sheets instead of detergent. I got new data for you on whether or not they are worth your money. So right now, I want to talk about the hotel programs. I kind of turned sour on Bonvoy, which is Marriott's program, probably 2 years ago when it became clear that Marriott was just pulling a fake on you. It was a bait and switch. Marriott, the world's largest hotel brand, when they took over Starwood, they immediately started a process of devaluing the hotel program, and now it's a joke. And now hotels en masse in the Marriott program are no longer honoring virtually any of the privileges that various levels of elite status are supposed to mean in Bonvoy. People who live on the road, staying in hotels night after night after night, and you hit a level and you're supposed to get room upgrades and maybe free breakfast and this, that, or the other. And Marriott hotels and Marriott affiliated, all the different brands, have basically said, forget it. We're not doing anything for you. And if you thought we were going to do any of those things, it's not happening. And Marriott's doing nothing about it. Nothing. And they are the worst offender, but the devaluing of the benefits of the points, I mean, it's a joke. When you look at any of these programs, except for Hyatt, that still has what's known as a static award chart, when you look at any of these programs, what you're going to see is that a hotel stay, the points you earned from a card, and by the way, the frequent stay tie-in credit cards with the hotel programs, waste of your money to the max. I mean, just worthless. And so the points are worth so little and the hotel stays cost so much that it's really stunning. And I've noticed, for those of you who have the Chase Sapphire product or the Capital One Venture X product, the points required to redeem a hotel stay are so much lower than they are with the hotel programs themselves. It's not even close. So when you get that solicitation in the mail and the credit card tie-ins with the hotels are soliciting like mad with all these huge sign-up bonuses and all that, if you want to pick up the initial sign-up bonus, fine. Use those points, get the free stay nights, and then don't renew the card. They're not worth it. And with hotels, all right, we got two kinds of hotel travelers, just as we have two kinds of air travelers. We have the corporate types that are charging to some big corporation, and then we have people who pay for their own nights. If you are on the corporate treadmill and your company's paying for your stays, and you want to earn points on a particular program, so then when you take a family trip or a personal trip, you get your nights for free, fine. If you're paying for your nights yourself as a small business owner or as an individual or couple or family traveling, don't be brand loyal. First of all, there's no consistency with hotels anymore. So you could go to a hotel that's got such and such a name on the building, and that name used to mean something. But today, the hotels don't enforce consistency in keeping the hotels up to date, the quality of the hotels, the experience. We had a Clark Zinks recently from someone who does hotel inspections who disagreed strongly on this point. But my experience staying in hotels as much as 100 nights each year is the brand name is not what matters anymore. It's like checking out to see how that individual property is being maintained. And what people are saying about that individual property on review sites is far more important than the name on the building right now. So the brand loyalty thing, only for the corporate traveler. The rest of us, you want to stay where you get the best deal at the best quality hotel, whatever brand name it is. And remember, those points are a joke. And Christa, you found out hard about what a ripoff the Bonvoy programs become.
Yeah, I actually still need to cancel that card.
You're still carrying it? What?
I don't use it except when I stay at a Marriott, yeah.
What happened?
I just haven't gotten around to it. I guess I'm just trying to be a good example of who you need to teach on this show.
No, wait. Was that like a year and a half ago that
Might
it came
have been
clear?
longer, yeah.
Oh, man.
I
How much
know.
is the annual fee? You're not going to tell me. Okay.
Edwin in Florida wrote in, Clark. And
All right.
He said, we're planning on a month-long trip to Asia, and we're reviewing trip insurance policies. What are your thoughts on using the trip insurance offered through the Capital One Venture X card versus buying a separate policy? The benefits appear similar, and we pay for all our travel expenses, flights, hotels, etc., through the Capital One card. We're planning to visit the Philippines, Japan, and South Korea. Thank you.
Well, I hope you
Exciting.
have a great time on your Asian adventure. And as far as using one of the premium credit cards for trip cancellation, trip interruption insurance, the things that matter to you about trip cancellation, trip interruption, whatever facets you think are going to be the most important in terms of a possibility of you having to make a claim, you need to read the terms and conditions of how the Capital One policy works. But I'll tell you, I love what you get with the Chase Sapphire product, the Reserve product, and with the Capital One Venture X as alternatives to you paying for trip cancellation, trip interruption insurance. With any of these policies, whether it's from a credit card or you buy a paid policy, the claims process is difficult, and the documentation required pretty extreme. But I think that the reason you're paying a big annual fee on one of these two premium travel cards is to be able to have them have your back in various situations, including if something goes wrong and you need to make a claim on trip cancellation, trip interruption.
This one's from Rodney in Oklahoma. My wife and I want to fly from the USA to Australia round trip with business class lie flat seats. My son recommended getting a credit card to build points and pay for the seat upgrade with points. Is this a good strategy? What is the best credit card and airline for this?
So first, let me tell you something about this. Your son is right and then he's not right. So yeah, you buy if you want to go business class lie flat, you'll have to buy premium economy on most airline programs to then be able to use points for the upgrade to the lie flat business. But the points are expensive that you have to use for this. One program that I can recommend to you is the Hawaiian Airlines program. Hawaiian Airlines lie flat business class product is not as good as other airlines, but it is a lie flat bed. You're able to get the sleep. You also can have the free stopover on many of the fares in Hawaii if you wish, going or returning, or you just make the stop in Honolulu, change there, and go on the flight to Sydney. And that's going to be the most affordable I don't know what kind of points Hawaiian charges if you get their card, earn points on it, or use a card you can transfer into the Hawaiian Airlines program. But the business class seats to Australia are usually $6,000 a person or higher round trip from the United States. I mean, they are big, big money when you're paying money for them. The premium economy tends to be around $2,700, kind of in that range. And then you have to use your points to then get the upgrade instead of paying the additional dollars.
If it's available.
If it's available. And thank you, because that's the big thing. You may find yourself in a bind because you buy that premium economy and then the upgrade is not available, and you're staying in premium economy on that flight. You're not getting the business class. So my favorite is if you can find a deal on the business class when that may go on sale from time to time. And again, Hawaiian has been the lead price airline typically for you to get to Hawaii at a better fare.
What about, I know the Amex Platinum, if for some reason Rodney has that for a business or whatever, they often have sales on international business class.
They do. They have, so what American Express does, they've changed this program a few times over the years, but first I should point out that card is $700
yes,
a year.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So it's not for the faint of heart. But with that card, you then have the privilege of potentially getting a membership airfare through American Express's portal that would be a meaningful discount from what a business class ticket would be otherwise. You also have the ability through the American Express card to transfer your points to many different airlines that are participants in the membership miles program. And then you have more of a free agent kind of thing to do the upgrade. You're able to check, see if the upgrade seats are available, book the premium economy on that airline, transfer the points, upgrade yourself right away, and then you will be able to pull off what your son said.
And we do on Clark.com, we have reviews of cards, including that one, and if cards have sign-up bonuses that are significant, we always write up that too. So you might want to just check there. Brian in Washington says, I live in Seattle and would like to visit Japan and Southeast Asia again. I went there many times for business back in the 2000s, but not sure if I can tolerate the long flights now, so I'd like to stop over for a few days in Hawaii. Honolulu will suffice on the way there. However, I believe this will substantially increase the air cost. Any suggestions? I strongly prefer Star Alliance due to my Gold for Life status.
So if you're in Seattle and you fly to Hawaii, you're going to be able to get to Hawaii in about 5 hours and a half, 5:45, something like that. But what you've done is you've flown to the fat part of the earth, which then makes your flight from there to Hawaii, from Hawaii to Japan, really long. And you're better off already being, you think how far north you are in Seattle. The flight from Seattle to Japan is not that bad, relatively speaking. So I would skip Hawaii and go straight to Japan from Seattle. Then you can use your Star Alliance because you got so many choices out of Seattle that are Star Alliance airlines. And I would do Hawaii as a separate trip at a separate time and not mix and match the two because of you're not making the travel better by going Seattle down to Hawaii, then back up to Japan. Just go straight to Japan, cut that corner. That's what I would do. Coming up ahead, this has been a fierce topic from people about what I talked about with the laundry sheets. And turns out I was wrong. And so it's important that I update my enthusiasm of a couple of months ago, straight ahead. Okay, so as some of the feedback I got said, so Clark, how many loads of laundry do you ever do? I actually do laundry. And I don't do it well, but I do my own laundry a lot of times. So, yes, and my clothes look wrinkled. But I got all excited a couple of months ago talking about these new laundry sheets. And I know that there have been laundry sheets that people have used for a while, but they've only really become mainstream in the last, really year or so. And so I was thinking, you don't have all the weight you're carrying home. And, if you're using a liquid laundry detergent, or you're not having all the waste with the powder or whatever. And so these sheets just seemed like a perfect idea, except they're not yet ready for prime time because I have egg all over my face, just like people said I would, that they don't work. Oh my goodness, they don't work. Consumer Reports recently reviewed laundry detergents, and it is a joke how badly every brand of laundry sheets tested in terms of getting your stuff clean. I mean, horrible. Like a really good laundry detergent pulls a score in the 80s in the way Consumer Reports tests. What do laundry sheets get? Okay, I'm going all the way to the bottom. The highest rated laundry sheet rates a 29. And the lowest rated rates an 11. I mean, the 29 doesn't even make it as the least dirty shirt in the laundry. 29 is so terrible that it's like you might as well just wash your clothes with water only and no detergent when you get to numbers like that. So, if you heard all my enthusiasm before about these laundry sheets, got all excited about them, and you went out and spent your money and washed your clothes, and they were still really not clean, that's on me. This is my fault. It is, Christa. It's my fault. You know how excited I get about new things and new ways of doing things?
You're enthusiastic. I didn't go out and buy them.
You did not buy them?
No, I did not.
Yeah, so this was a big fail on my part, and
it's okay. Now we know, and you've let everyone know.
Yeah, but what a how are people going to trust me when I say this is going to be great?
Because they know you're going to then tell what happened after and be honest and accept that sometimes we're all wrong.
I'm married. I know I'm wrong a lot. I hear it.
All right, let's go to some questions. This one came in from Michael in Louisiana. My daughter foolishly co-signed 3 student loans with ridiculous terms for her ex. The ex stopped paying the loans, and the original creditor sold them to a collector, which is now suing both the ex and my daughter.
So it's not a collector now, it's a law firm.
Oh, it's a law firm. Okay, yeah. Well, they do collections, though, right? The law,
yeah.
It's the same. Okay. The ex still lives in Louisiana and has filed for bankruptcy, which is where the suit has been filed and where they lived when they were together. My daughter now lives in Texas, where she works and manages to pay her rent and car note, but she is barely afloat and certainly not in a position to pay what is now close to $26,000. Is there any way out of this besides filing for bankruptcy? Thank you, Clark, for everything you do.
I'm going to level with you, Michael. I am shallow breathing right now. I feel terrible for your daughter. Your daughter co-signed these out of love for her ex, I don't know, boyfriend, husband, whatever. And now she's on the hook for these. So this is bad ugly. The reason it's bad ugly is that bankruptcy is not an automatic relief from student loan debt. Congress has given student loan collectors extra power with student loans that make them more difficult than other loans to set aside in a bankruptcy filing. Your daughter is going to need to, and by the way, you said she doesn't own a house, she rents, she has a car note, so your daughter doesn't have assets. So a bankruptcy filing may actually in this case be the right answer, but the bankruptcy attorney is going to have to investigate the nature of these 3 student loans and see if they can be set aside in bankruptcy. Whenever you co-sign for something, you get all the responsibility, none of the privilege of it. And she's a perfect example of that. She's right in a mess, not of her own making. The ex is the one who created the mess. And so now she's going to have to go seek bankruptcy advice. And let me tell you this, the bankruptcy attorney is going to require cash up front. And if she doesn't have it, and it turns out that's the best course of action, if you can afford it, you may actually have to front that money to your daughter to stop the burden of these student loans that stays with people for their full lifetime. So this is a real mess.
And they could garnish your wages, right?
They can make your life miserable for the rest of your life.
This is awful. I'm sure he's really happy with his daughter's ex too. Gosh.
Well, I mean, co-signing student loans is an even heavier burden than co-signing other forms of loans. Although co-signing any loan comes with enormous risk.
Okay, Steph in Texas says, I'm 37, recently divorced, and planning on moving to a more expensive area with my 4-year-old son. This will put me closer to my job and family. I paid for home and no other debt. I have about 200.
Well, that's great news.
I know. I have about $260K in retirement savings, including a Roth IRA, traditional IRA, and 401K.
All right, let me stop you right there. I mean, 37, you're in a really tough spot with a life transition from divorce. You are actually in great shape financially for someone in your circumstance. You have over $250,000 already saved for your future at 37. You own your home free and clear. I mean, you're starting from a difficult spot following a divorce in a really good place.
Definitely. Okay, I believe I need about $100K in addition to the equity in my house to buy something comparable in the new area. I'd like to take it from my Roth instead of taking out a mortgage. I have $112K in principal contributions that would be available to me from the Roth. I believe I would have a much better time selling this home first and buying a new home in cash in hand, equity plus cash from the Roth, than taking out a mortgage and paying interest. And the real estate will continue to appreciate even though I'm missing out on the investment earnings, which is still an asset that I'll take into retirement. If you don't like this idea, talk me out of it. All of the assets mentioned have been awarded to me in the divorce. I'm currently making about $50K per year working part-time, which could increase once my son starts school. Looking forward to your opinion.
So, Steph, I hate for you to erode where you already are with the Roth. And as much as you don't want to take out that mortgage for $100,000, I really think that's the better idea. The reason is your income can support that amount of mortgage almost certainly. Interest rates have come down some on mortgages. They're likely to come down some more over time. And when your son goes to school, you're going to have a higher income than you do now. You could always, if it became untenable, you could at that point pull contributions out of your Roth and pay down or off that mortgage if you needed to. But I'd rather you not take this wonderful situation you have with this Roth money that is growing tax-free for the rest of your working years to be spent tax-free in retirement. and take that out of the picture, out of your life, the long-term benefit of that is so very large. It's not a bad idea or option to do what you're thinking of doing. I just think it would be superior to leave the Roth alone and let it continue to grow and take out a mortgage for the portion of the home that you would need to take out that mortgage for.
And there's no guarantee the home's going to keep appreciating at the level that she anticipates.
Right. Homes do not appreciate over time at the level that investments and companies do when you own, a target retirement fund, so you own index funds. Capitalism creates more internal return over the years than you're going to have from owning a house.
Mary in Kentucky says, we want to buy a new car for our 17-year-old son. What does Clark suggest in terms of safety and reliability?
So we've got the list from Consumer Reports that was recently updated that we talked about on the podcast, and you can look at that. And the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety also does a list. See if you can cross-reference those. What Consumer Reports did this year, though, which is the reason I made special mention of it a while back, is Consumer Reports this time listed used cars for teens that were relatively inexpensive, under 10 grand, that had the safety features on them that you want to have. One of the things that's happened is that a lot of the really good safety features came into being long enough ago that they're even on a lot of older cars now where that wasn't true, let's say 5 years ago. You were having to buy a newer, more expensive used car in order for a teen to be safe. So take those two lists. Again, the Consumer Reports list. They make it available, I think, to non-subscribers too, where you can see that list. And the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, IIHS.org, and look at their teen driver list. And it really is great that now you can buy affordable wheels for a teen instead of backbreakingly expensive wheels for a teen. The insurance is cheaper too that way. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and know that we serve you at Clark.com and ClarkDeals.com. The same reason we do in everything I do. So you'll learn ways to save more, spend less, and avoid getting ripped off. See you tomorrow.